After a keen contest, to all intents and purposes, it may have been done, but it's certainly not dusted. That's the sum of the Kogi State Governorship election conducted on Saturday, November the 21st, and against all expectations, not conclusive, even after the results were announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Welcome to Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Charles Eruka, standing in for Sheon Okimbaloye, who has been our point man over in Kogi State, where he's been reporting on the governorship election conducted over the weekend by INEC. So, at this point, we cannot say a winner has emerged in Kogi State because INEC has declared the governorship election in that state inconclusive. The returning officer, Professor Emmanuel Kucha, did announce the scores, with the APC candidate, Prince Abubakar Audu, in the driving seat, having scored a total of 240,867 votes, while Governor Idris Wada of the People's Democratic Party polled 199,514 votes. The Labour Party candidate and former Deputy Governor, Mr. Philip Salau, came a distant third with a total of 8,756 votes. Now, that's in terms of the number of votes scored by the three leading candidates in the Kogi governorship exercise. But so far, INEC has declared no victor, no vanquished. Now, according to the electoral law, the election result will be declared inconclusive if the difference between the total votes scored by the two leading candidates is less than the total number of votes cast. In this case, the difference between the APC and PDP candidates was 41,313, while the total number of votes counseled was 49,953. That means we'll have to wait until a supplementary election ordered by INEC is conducted to determine the winner, and that will be at a later date. Now, whatever you hear from the grapevine, well, we are still trying to confirm, and it's a tinge of tragedy, but I'm not going to be saying that here and now. Well, now it's confirmed. Very tragic indeed. The front runner in this election declared inconclusive, a former governor of Kogi State and the All Progressives Congress candidate, Mr. Abubakar Audu, is no more. Understandably, he slumped sometime at a point after the elections were conducted and did not make it. Well, he is not alive anymore. I'm trying to use all the euphemisms I can summon, but then the truth of the matter is that the APC governorship candidate in the Kogi State governorship election, Prince Abubakar Audu, is dead. For now, let's join our correspondent Sheon Okimbaloye for an update on the situation in Kogi State following one INEC's declaration of the poll inconclusive and then the passing away of the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Sheon, what now is the mood in Kogi State? Well, I understand, I can see that you're being joined by Lanre Lasisi, also one of our correspondents on the ground there as well. Well, Sheon, Lanre, thank you for joining us on Politics Today. And I'll just put it straight to you. What is the mood in Kogi State where you are at the moment, well, following the declaration of the inconclusive election and the death of the APC candidate?
Thank you so much, Charles, and welcome to this edition of Politics Today. We're reaching you live from Lokoja, the capitals of Kogi State, North Central Nigeria. So much news for one day: the death of the APC candidate in this election, Prince Abubakar Audu, and of course the fact that the election has been declared inconclusive. We do not have a new date for the supplementary election, but we await a word from INEC to tell us exactly what becomes of the inconclusive election. All right, I've been joined by Larry Lasisi, himself and I will be on the ground here for several days, monitoring at the situation here in Lokaja and, of course, Kogi State generally, in the Kogi State governorship election. Thank you so much, Larry. How's it been for you generally? We've been around town looking at the situation. Let me start with today, precisely when the news of the death of Prince Abubakar Audu came in. You went around town. What is the mood like?
Well, I think a lot of people were still not ready to accept the news. You know, it was too much to take in one day. The results were at the point early today. What was everybody was waiting for was like, this is the result. Audu has won, 8-1. What is it going to be? So that was the focus of everyone. At the point we, towards evening, just before the news started filtering around, well, the INEC had come out with their own position, saying, look, they cannot take a decision on this, it's inconclusive. So people were still trying to adjust to that. And then the news started filtering in, this is what's happening, there's a possibility that Chief Abubakar Audu may be gone. And, you know, it was too much to take, to accept. And so a lot of people in town are still trying to confirm whatness, but still asking around, trying to get a confirmation that this is what has gone down.
You know, on a day like this, that a lot of you should be actually seeing jubilation on the streets on a day where expecting results of the election. Well, one side, the fact that the election is inconclusive. Now, coming later in the evening when we heard and got news from families, friends, and people in the death of Chief Abubakar Audu. As a reporter on the ground, we look at the enthusiasm and the feelings that the people of Kogi State had for this election. How do you gauge their anticipation and their feelings towards this polls?
Well, I think coming to the elections, there were a lot of expectations, there were a lot of perceptions. Kogi has always been somewhere that a lot of people are worried about when you passionate people, and sometimes that passion can move towards maybe some conduct that may not help the democratic process. I'm trying to put it as politely as possible. But I think a lot of people were, it appeared as if the elections went better than a lot of people expected. Logistics-wise, INEC tried their best, and even though when you take voter participation may not be as much as one would have expected, but for those that turned out, they really showed they wanted to guard their votes. They showed they wanted to participate in the process. They made sure they conducted themselves. A majority of the polling units, as well as you would expect, stayed there, heard the results, and left calmly.
Give me a reporter's point of perspective to this issue now. You know, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, we kept vigil, waiting for news about who is leading, who is behind, and what exactly might be the situation on the field. Give me a benefit of your own experience, slightly different from what I experienced, you know, when I was moving around the state. But you were basically in Lokoja. What was it like for you reporting this very election? You reported the 2015 general election.
Yes.
But now, what's your take on the Kogi election?
I think I really enjoyed the time we had. We went to several polling units, and we were able to at least touch several points. I like the fact that, like I said, people came out. Those that came out, came out. There was a cordial air. There was a point where some between accreditation and eventual voting, and they started, you know, as is sometimes possible, started talking about politics. They were there for elections. I don't want to talk about, you have your points, you have your reasons for what you're doing. I have mine. No need for us to really get it up. Let's do what we're here. I like the fact that a lot of people came out. I like the fact that for this election, we've always had problems. And for a reporter, there's several points you look out for? Do their materials arrive on time? Are the security concern, are they addressed? The voter turnout, how is it? And I think for most of the places we went to, we've generally in Nigeria had problems with voter turnout. But this one appeared to be fair. I think fair is the word. We still have a lot to do in that regard. When it came to logistics, despite the fuel crisis situation, the INEC still managed to be able to turn out the logistic. They really worked. And I think for me, this was the most impressive I've seen in a long while. And since this is the first after the 2015 elections, I really like to say I think I like what we're able to achieve here.
All right, very good. Lionel Assisi, my colleague, who we've been monitoring this election. Of course, you know that the election is not over. It looks so much like a story that has just begun. Well, you need to stay with Channels Television because we will give you up to date until we know for sure who is going to be the governor of Kogi State for another 4 term. We go on a short break, and when we return, we go to Lagos, get some other perspective to this matter, and of course, I'll give you some real insights into this election. How did it all play out? What exactly was INEC effort in this particular exercise? What was the issue about this inconclusiveness of this election? Well, suspense-filled exercise it is all about. Well, my name is Sean Kimale, Larry Lassisi, my colleague. Yeah, thank you so much. We go on a short break, and we'll be back on Politics Today on Channels Television.